Good evening. In 2016, the NPP promised the good people of this country that when it is voted for to come to power, it will equip, in fact, committed to equipping the security personnel with all the accoutrements and the logistics they need to be able to provide security and peace for the good people of this country. Today, Ghanaians are sleeping in a most peaceful environment. That is why the Global Peace Index Report 2020 indicated that Ghana is the most peaceful country in West Africa and third on the continent. We are of the firm belief that a peaceful country is a prosperous country. That is why, whilst we are providing all the logistics, we are also committing to implementing policies and programs that bring development to every corner of this country. That is why we are implementing policies that will liberate the energies of Ghanaians. That is why we have introduced free SHS. That is why we have introduced the One District, One Factory to be able to provide jobs, prosperity, and equal opportunities for all. This is Majority Caucus. My name is Frederick Kofi Amial, and I'm your host tonight. We will take a quick break. When we come back, I will introduce you to my guests and we'll go into the issues. Thank you for joining us again. So this Monday, the New Patriotic Party held a press conference. And we discussed so many issues to the effect that Ghana is very peaceful and that all the logistics and all the steps that needs to be taken to ensure that this year's election will be peaceful. After the elections, before the declaration, it will be peaceful. And even after the declaration, Ghana will be peaceful. I want you to stay tuned and so that we go back to the excerpt of the press conference we held on Monday, and then we come back and have some discussions on the issues.
And recent attempts by the National Democratic Congress to politicize our security forces. His statements are totally false and unfounded, and he ought to be ashamed of himself. John Mahama has been using his campaign rallies not so much to rally support for his message as he has no message. Increasingly, he is sounding more and more as a candidate who has already accepted defeat. He has been on the ground and he knows very well that he is not on the ground. His message for change is not trusted by the public. His negative campaign against President Akufo-Addo and the NPP is not getting him anywhere. And it is because the people know better and feel better, and they know the difference between President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and John Dramani Mahama. John Mahama has spent his campaign time to vilify the Electoral Commission. Meanwhile, according to a recent survey by the CDD, 68% of Ghanaians, including NDC following supporters, are happy with the work of Jim Mensah and the Electoral Commission. John Mahama's dirty campaign against President Akufo-Addo is not working because 70% of Ghanaians, including NDC supporters, approve of the work that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is doing as a president. The truth is hurting candidate Mahama. So it seems the only thing left for the candidate to do is to prepare the ground, and here I mean candidate Mahama, for a rejection of the December 7, 2020 general elections results. We wish to assure the public that December 7, 2020 will be peaceful. Every election since 1992 has been more peaceful than the previous one. This is in spite of the occasional skirmishes we see in by-elections like Etiwa, Akwetia, Chiripone, Talensi, and I think what comes to mind recently is the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency one. Therefore, I know 2020 will be better and it shall be well. President Akufo-Addo and the New Patriotic Party are winning simply because the Ghanaian people appreciate the remarkable efforts that this government has made and continue to make to improve the lives of ordinary Ghanaians up and down the country. Equally and importantly, the people know that the alternative is the NDC under John Dramani Mahama, the worst president ever in the Fourth Republic. The NPP is winning for sure. NDC knows it, but that feeling on the ground means nothing if the people do not come out in their numbers to vote on December 7th. The biggest security for 2020 general elections is for you, the voters, to come out massively to vote for President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the New Patriotic Party. Give John Mahama a clear and decisive and incontestable defeat. Just like he received a non-regable margin of defeat in the 2016 general elections, we must even do better and make sure that he will have no excuse to attempt to cause trouble after December 7th, 2020. Let us shut him up with the power of the thumb. The impartiality of our police and security forces is essential to the success of our democracy and maintaining the peace. The recent comments by Mr. Mahama are an insult to the proud men and women in our security forces who have dedicated themselves to serving their communities honorably and without partisanship. This is a blatant attempt by the Mahama campaign to distract voters from the fact that they have nothing to offer Ghanaian people, and so they have resorted to trying to undermine the integrity of our elections. Indeed, candidate Mahama's remarks are not in isolation. They fit into a deliberate, coordinated, and orchestrated design by the NDC and its failing presidential candidate to undermine security in the country and create an atmosphere of fear and panic. Let's listen to two of the officials, and I'll start with their national chairman, Samuel Ofosu Ampofu. All right. I think our tech team will just get you the videos. Let me just go on so we don't have too much time. And afterwards, I want them to listen to Elvis Efri Ankara as well, because he's the director of elections. He's made some general remarks, and I want that. Ladies and gentlemen, the NDC and Mahama are now seeking to convert their designs into action. The threat on my colleague and Minister for Gender, Honorable Cynthia Morrison, in her constituency is a matter under investigation by the Ghana Police Service. Recently, a strong and a known NDC person, Said Sinari, is also a matter before the police. It went to court, and the police, through its investigations, are working at it as well. It's never happened that we should be throwing stones at each other. Ladies and gentlemen, the NDC's administration fails to make public safety and security a priority. The proliferation of illegal small weapons became endemic. The safety of our coastline was neglected. The essential equipment for our security forces was procured inadequately. What did the Akufo-Addo-led administration do differently? Since 2017, we have made significant resources available towards improving public safety and security, enhancing the logistical and operating capabilities of the security services, investing in the overall conditions of service of the men and women responsible for public safety, and national security, including the National Barracks Regeneration Program. We recognize the importance of our precious coastline. We have provided patrol boats to the police, foreign fishing vessels to protect our offshore oil and gas installations and to enhance security along Ghana's territorial waters. The narcotics control regime has been updated with the upgrade of the Narcotics Control Board to a commission with more powers to counter drug trafficking, which is a menace to our society. The Security and Intelligence Agencies Act has been passed to, among other things, enhance security at the district level. For the first time in Ghanaian history, a vigilantism law has been passed to check political violence, something that has menaced politics since colonial times. The national security apparatus has been made more accountable and transparent to the public through periodic briefings to Parliament. Drawing on his rich experience as a former Minister of Justice and Foreign Minister, President Akufo-Addo has championed regional security collaboration to the benefits of the nation, including increased intelligence capabilities through the Accra Initiative, which brings together sub-regional partners to counter cross-border violent crime, and the Headquarters Agreement, which is a multinational maritime coordination center in Accra, which is currently before Parliament for ratification. Through joint security operations such as Calm Life, Kwadango, and the ongoing Operation Conquered Fist, we will continue to reinforce the security of our northern, western, northern, and northeastern borders to guard against any infiltrations into the country. These operations target everything from armed robbery to terrorism and violent extremism that originates outside our borders. Under President Akufo-Addo, the Dagbon conflict has finally been resolved. The administration has also faced the problem of transhumance head-on, with the establishment of a national cattle ranching pilot project in Kwu-Afram Plains to absorb to transient herders and decrease communal tensions. Let me focus a little more on resources. When we came into office, the police had only 492 serviceable vehicles. The living conditions of the people entrusted with the security of the nation and the security of citizens was nothing to write home about. Illegal encroachments on military land had been left unchecked. What did we do differently? The NPP administration, under President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, established a world-class national cybersecurity center which has collaborated effectively with law enforcement to combat the menace of cybercrime, including fraud, sextortion, non-consensual sharing of intimate images, and child online abuse in real time. Enhance coastal security by giving the Ghana Navy the first patrol boats, 4, and 2 to the Maritime Police Unit to counter piracy, narcotics trafficking, and illegal bunkering. The Ghana Maritime Authority is also equipped with 7 patrol boats to combat pollution of our waterways while regulating the watercraft as well. The police have been provided with 1 billion Ghana cedis for equipment and logistics, modern communication tools, 740 new vehicles, 3 helicopters, 15,000 community police officers. The Immigration Service is proud of a continued professionalization of Ghana Immigration Service, including the appointment of a career immigration officer as the Comptroller General. 1 new armory and 14 facilities fortified to serve as armories, 320 AK-47 rifles, 120 pistols, 120 cars, 153 bikes, and 50 all-terrain vehicles. The service has expanded training facilities at the academy and training school at Asim Fusu. The expansion included the construction of a 3-story hostel block for the Immigration Academy and 3-story female dormitory block. As a result, the intake of both cadet and recruit officers have doubled. The total recruitment within the period is 911 officer cadets and 3,050 recruits. Ghana Armed Forces, 13 million was released to clear peacekeeping arrears within 6 weeks of inauguration of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Enhanced military cooperation agreement with the United States, resulting in increased opportunities for training and capacity building for our personnel. 138 new operational vehicles, 50 new buses. Encroachment has been stopped. Just a year ago, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo administration initiated the construction of a new Ghana Army Headquarters complex at Burma Camp. The new edifice will be called Odate Wellington Block, and in honor of the late Major General Odate Wellington, who was the Army commander from 1978 to 1979. Government, through Parliament, has provided 86 million United States dollars for the purchase of armored vehicles for the armed forces. Last month, the President commissioned a Naval Training Command Center at Nutekpo in the Volta region to augment human capacity development for the Navy. Government has commissioned a forward operating base at Nzelebo in the Western region for the Navy to secure our oil fields and facilitate quick response to piracy attacks. Government also provided 12 phantom boats in this regard. This is 25 to 30 nautical miles to our offshore oil fields. Presently, the base at Sekendi is 90 nautical miles away, and that delays response time to a new attack. The Ghana National Fire Service have received 11 command vehicles for directors and 2 34-seater buses. This is for the first time. They've never had command vehicles. International training program for officers in the Republic of Malta. Security and infrastructure projects which have either been completed and are ongoing include 29 police stations which are completed, 44 ongoing. Police posts, 22 completed, 13 ongoing. Fire service posts, 17 completed, 5 ongoing. Command buildings, 20 completed, 8 ongoing. Under the Justice for All program, boldly launched by the Kufuor administration, 2 projects, namely the construction of a 2,000 capacity remand prison at Nsawam and the expansion of the residential accommodation for staff at Ankafo Maximum Security Prison, have commenced and will be completed and operationalized soon. In collaboration with key stakeholders such as the Church of Community Coast, work on the Ejura and Kokofu prison camps has also commenced. All these measures will ease endemic congestion in our prisons. In conclusion, have there been challenges? Certainly. We are all witnesses to cases of violent crime, including one that took away the life of my brother and colleague, Honorable MP for Infantiman Eko Kwansa Hayford. We also mourn the tragic abduction and killing of Prisla Mantibia Kranche with Kwesing and Prisla Blessing Bintum in the Western region. We have resourced our security services to be more effective and efficient, successfully collaborating with each other and international partners to bring criminals to justice, as can be seen in both cases, as well as when they successfully rescued 2 abducted Canadian women in June 2019, utilizing a combination of state-of-the-art technology and solid police work. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot fail to acknowledge the work done by the security agencies to secure our borders and communities in the wake of the global COVID-19 pandemic. Many are those within the opposition who, with indecent haste, frame the government's well-meaning interventions with ethnocentric rhetoric. Today, we see the benefits. Despite the ongoing rampage of the virus, our security services have helped to mitigate what would have been a catastrophe. Even more recently, we have witnessed attempts to destabilize the Volta, Oti, and northern eastern parts of the country. It is curious that these have occurred during the NPP administration. It is also curious that these have escalated close to the elections. Yet, the NPP administration has not succumbed to the panic and fear-mongering. Rather, the government's security strategy has been measured and effective, disrupting supply lines of destabilizing elements and apprehending those who have chosen to participate in the agenda of destabilization. Ladies and gentlemen, under the NPP administration, we will continue to expand opportunities for women to serve in our world-class security services and advance as equitable participation is vital to successful policing and the safety of our communities. To the youth of this nation, you want world-class opportunities to thrive. We hear you. Our political philosophy is development in freedom. A safe country is one where you can thrive like your peers worldwide. Ghana has been adjudged the most peaceful country in West Africa and third most peaceful country in Africa by the Global Peace Index. We will continue to work hard to ensure that you have the environment necessary for both foreign and domestic investment and to allow your dreams to flourish. All that we ask of you is to come out in your numbers without fear and vote to give President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the NPP a clear, decisive, undisputable victory. We need a victory. We need a big victory to give candidate John Dramani Mahama no room to even attempt to cause trouble. We must get out to vote and vote the new patriotic party. The battle is still the Lord's. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm happy to take your questions at this time.
Again, welcome back. So you see from the press conference, it's evident that at the end of the day, it's the NPP, especially the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government, that is committed to resourcing our security personnel. And I believe beyond all these logistics, there were certain social and economic challenges that we were facing as a country, okay, that really challenged the peace and security of this country. For example, the unemployment situation among the youth Imagine a youth that do not have jobs, not just jobs, but hope. It threatens the peace of this country. That is why Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and in the 2016 manifesto of the NPP, the theme was agenda for jobs. In fact, and indeed, NAPCO was not part of our manifesto, but we realized that at the end of the day, we need to find a creative and innovative way of providing jobs for the youth, especially among the graduates. And we did so by bringing the NAPCO. When John Dramani Mahama, the former president, the youth of this country asked him for jobs, he told them he's not a magician to provide them with jobs. That's what he told them. But Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo has been able to provide jobs through many interventions. Unemployment among the youth threatening our peace and security. President Akufo-Addo has been able to provide solutions. Again, Dumso, we know, ISA reported that Ghana was losing $2 million every single day as a result of Dumso. And we know the social impact and challenges that we were confronted with because of the lack and the inability and the incompetence of John Dramani Mahama. In fact, let me tell you this. According to the Ghana Energy Commission's report, it wasn't about our inability to have more megawatts or turbines or effective installments, but our inability to be able to find money, buy fuel or gas to power these plants. Again, the financial sector mess which John Dramani Mahama, the financial sector mess which we inherited, indeed, when the former president admitted in 2016, State of the Nation's Address, page 20, we cleared that mess and we have fixed it. We do have the director of Dankwa Institute, Richard Ahiagba, on the line to discuss security under the NPP. Richard, good evening and welcome to Majority Caucus. Hello, Richard Ahiagba.
Yes, my brother. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. How are you doing today?
I'm quite well. I hope you're well too.
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us. So the question Ghanaians would want to know is that, are we safer now than before?
Well, thank you, Amiel. Certainly, we are safer. And if you paid any attention to the CDD poll that it came out, I think, last week, you see that the respondents demonstrate a high confidence in our security to be able to keep us safe during and after this election. And so therefore, on account of that, on that scientific basis, there cannot be any contradiction. People can formulate and propagandize and say things as to say we're not safe, but the evidence scientifically suggests that, yes, Ghanaians feel safe and they are confident that this government is providing them the security they need and to protect the territorial integrity of our country. Certainly, we're safe under this government.
Let me also ask you, we are in a season, the electioneering season, and we hear a lot of statements and rhetorics and semantics by the NDCs, sometimes even the flag bearer, to the extent that Ghana might not be safe if the elections are flawed. Why do you think he continued to make such statements?
Well, my brother, this is self-evident. These things are defeatist mentality. When one is clear in their mind they are losing an election, especially, or they find that they are not able to do something that they feel they have promised people they want to do or they think they should be able to do, then they begin to blame everything, including the tools that they are using they are using to prosecute their end. So former President Mahama, his tactics here of blaming everybody, not only the security, but he's blaming even the EC and blaming the government and blaming security, and everything he's doing is just a clear evidence that really he knows that this election is lost. Now he's just finding a scapegoat with which to maybe pacify himself. But we as Ghanaians need to be clear-eyed about these things and not fall for this. And that's why earlier in my answer to your question, I brought in a scientific finding that says that Ghanaians, in spite of the NDC pursuit to try to stoke the fires of insecurity in this country, Ghanaians understand. They know what they are getting, and they know what they're bargaining for under Akufo-Addo. So the idea that Ghana will not be safe, it would only happen if the NDC are the ones doing it. Remember that a while ago, even though this case is still in court, but the audio that came out suggests that the NDC was saying, through their chairman, creating and talking about ideas to create insecurity in this country. When you listen to their key leaders, they talk about violence as though it is the normal thing. The former president himself, somewhere in Volta region, talked about in very proud terms, saying that as for them, they have blood in them that is revolutionary, such that nobody can match them in violence. So the question Ghanaians need to be asking, and we need as the people to be sure to ask the NDC and the former President Mahama, is that the violence he's speaking about, where is it going to come from? Is it a violence they are going to foment, that they are preparing to foment, or a violence that somehow they have already engineered and we're just waiting to experience it? But if that is not the case, and they are just looking at how this government is managing the security of this country, then I'm not sure what is it they are looking at to predict that violence, because this government from day one, even in the thick of things, when, all across the sub-region, in Mali, in Burkina Faso, things that were happening, this government has held this country together and have protected our borders. And the security we're enjoying is as a result of the hard work being done. So if there is anything that will jeopardize the security of this country, I am not sure where it's going to come from. But given how the former president is talking, I am very curious and suspicious that they are the ones who are fomenting the trouble and planning to foment trouble indeed, if there will be any chaos in this country. But even that, we need to assure Ghanaians that our security forces are on the job, and they are going to ensure that this country is safe during and after the elections.
Thank you,
There cannot be any violence in this country so far as the president, His Excellency Leonardo Dango Akufo-Addo, and all of us Ghanaians are concerned. Will be vigilant and do what we can to ensure that this country remains in one piece, such that we'll continue to enjoy the peace we inherited on January 7th, 2017.
All right, Richard, kindly permit me to read some few messages from our viewers as well. We want this show to be as interactive as possible, so you can keep on bringing your WhatsApp messages on 054 010 9009. Again, the number for you to text in is 054 010 9001. Richard, let me just read a message right here for you. But before I get in the message, and I want you to prepare to answer this very question for me. Beyond the fact that we are all well aware that the NDC doesn't have any message for Ghanaians, do you also not think that they are trying to make sure that Ghanaians do not go out there and vote, more or less intimidating them?
Certainly. I mean, it's a tactic. I mean, if you permit me, we've seen a carbon copy of this replicate itself in other jurisdictions. I need not mention the name, where candidates who are losing are throwing up their hands in the air and talking about people are doing A, B, C, D, and it goes to speak to the tactic of trying to create a scapegoat. Now, it is possible, and that's one of the reasons why I think I need to commend you for bringing this discussion up, so the point can be made clearly that the safety of all Ghanaians is assured from now till election and after election. So the idea that the NDC is trying to stoke this kind of fear in people and make it so that people will be afraid and not be willing to go out there and vote, that we must counter that effectively and forcefully, and from now to the election we must repeat and do all that we can to make sure that this message goes down. There cannot be any important activity from now to election apart from making sure that our message goes to people, we must also ensure that people understand that the security forces of this country are on the job 24/7, and there is not going to be any violence that will occasion this election. So people need to rest assured that as this government has done through thick and thin, providing the needed security for Ghanaians, nothing will change from now to the election. So yes, the tactic that the NDC is using, we must call it out and name it and shame it, that there cannot be any way in our democracy, instead of allowing and creating opportunity for people to go and vote, will create fear. You know, this is the same thing they did. When the EC was trying to do this voter registration, they said all manner of things. People are going to die COVID-19. Nobody should go. This will happen. That will happen. In fact, if we had listened to the NDC today, we wouldn't have done the voters register. In fact, Ghana will be in a dilemma because we will not be sure whether or not to vote even in this year.
That's true.
We have a leadership that understands that the responsibility it has to shepherd and guide our democracy to a point where it endures and it continues to move on the way it was crafted to do, took the difficult decision, made the necessary investment, and now today we are on the precipice of voting on December 7th. And nothing, not even the fear of the NDC trying to scare people, should be allowed to stand. So yes, you are doing a great job by bringing this information. I think I listened to the press statement that was read, and it was right on point to assure Ghanaians that every election from 1992 has been improving. Our knowledge, our experience, we have been implementing and making changes to ensure that every election is safer than the one before. So if that is any measure to go by, then it means that the 2020 election will be much safer than what we had in 2016. Ghanaians can rest assured in that.
All right, Richard. Let me take this message from Evra Salaga North. There is no chance for NDC to come back to power in December 7th. 4 more for Nana to do more. Let's continue to read some of the message. Okay. Let's continue to read some few messages. Okay, so Richard, do I still have Richard on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line.
Okay, so the question Ghanaians would want to know, what steps has government taken to make sure that indeed Ghanaians do go out there and vote?
Well, certainly security, I think, is of the essence, and that every investment is being made. Much of what I've come to know, I cannot probably discuss openly, but I know that security work is not what people want to publish or speak, openly about. But I can assure that government is interested and focused to ensure that the security of all Ghanaians, especially in this election year, is guaranteed. So there cannot be any more important task for government than ensuring the security of all Ghanaians. So therefore, I think that government will not spare any resource, will ensure that every necessary investment is made to ensure that people are safe when they go out to vote, and even during the elections and after the elections. I can only imagine that under Harold government, peace is what we can count on. Nothing like violence, because the resources. In fact, when you're listening to the press statement, the investment that is made in the security forces tells you the preparedness and the awareness, and to the extent the prioritization of security to make sure that Ghanaians are safe is evident, and the kind of investment that government has made thus far in the security forces. So it is one thing that we can count on, and we will have to. And I think I need to make this point that as Ghanaians, we have to support the security forces. It's a collective project, and we must all engage. If we see anything, if we hear anything, people are coming to our communities, strange people are coming up and setting up and doing things we're not sure about, we should speak up. We should get to our security services and report to them. That's how they can foil, negative plots in our communities so that we can continue to be safe. But government, in my view, will do all it can, given the experience we've had and the investment government has done so far in ensuring the safety of Ghanaians. I can only imagine that it will get better and we'll feel much safer.
Okay, so Jonathan in Cape Coast says, come December 7th, we the people of the NPP will go in our numbers to vote massively. Good evening, Kofi Ameyao. We know we are safe under this government, and we know the party chairman, the NDC chairman, party chairman, who is stoking violence as an electoral tool. We will vote massively against them. For more for now to do more, to secure more. KD from Adenta. So, Richard Anyagba, again, it is evident and it is clear that 2020, the NPP is going to win once again massively. Okay?
Amen.
And amen. And the truth of the matter, beyond the fact that the provision of logistics and the accoutrements and all of that, yes, this government, I am of the greatest opinion that it has done better than any other government in the Fourth Republic. But there are certain issues, key issues, social and economic issues, that also do threaten the peace of this country, like unemployment, our financial sector and all of that. What do you think this government has done to ensure that indeed these things do not breach the peace of this country?
Well, thank you. You know, in terms of unemployment, I think the CDD poll also ranked some of the things that people felt were the most important issues to them. I think infrastructure was one, unemployment was the second item, education, and in that order. So unemployment is important. But the important thing we need to make, and the point we need to emphasize for Ghanaians, is that the coming into office of this government till now, the employment situation of the country has improved. Directly in the public sector and indirectly, jobs that have been created are in excess of 2 million. Now, that is what we can quantify. That's what we can measure. But attendant to that, every single employment has a multiplier effect of creating economic activity, because one person that earns income has implication for the community in which he lives, and now he's empowered, has purchasing power to buy water, take transportation, take the girlfriend or the boyfriend out. And so that has a rippling economic impact. Now, we have come into office with a clear program of industrialization. And the NPP is a center-right political party, so we are pro-market. And our devices ensure that we make the market work such that individuals can find their level in the economy to be productive and to earn for their personal output. So with a one district, one factory intervention that is coming, and we've been in office barely 4 years now, the efforts of the one district, one factory program is created on average now a total of 232 industries that are in the offing, about 78 or so that is completed and are operational. We have the planting for food and jobs, which has taken off and has done wonders across board. That is an essential part of developing and creating avenue for people. You look at the planting for I think rural development and export. I think for export and rural development is one major avenue that is going to ensure that in the next 4 years we'll get to a point where we'll be able to do import substitution to ensure that we are strengthening our currency and boosting domestic production for export and for domestic consumption. So that will result in growth and development. So really, we are at the point where Ghanaians understand. Just like you and I, when you have hope, you have a reason to live for tomorrow. Ghanaians have hope that this government, given the performance, in this 4 years, there is hope that in the next 4 years, Ghana will really take off. We've heard this when we're growing up, that, they are building the foundation, they're on the drawing board and all of that, but we've never taken off. For the past 28 years in this Fourth Republic, the party that has ruled Ghana the most has only succeeded in sending Ghana back the most. But the NPP, in our few years of being in government, 8 years under President Kufuor, you saw how we brought Ghana from the abyss, and now the NDC took us back. And in 4 years, we have come so far, so fast. So there's a hope, and Ghanaians have come to believe. And that's the reason why the former President John Dramani Mahama's message is not sticking, because they have come to believe that the man cannot do. He had 8 years. Okay, he had 8 years to do what he thinks he can do to help Ghana. Now he's talking about Jumapa. He had 8 years. Why didn't you do it? Talk about big push. He had 8 years. Why didn't you do it? All these ideas they are talking about. So Ghanaians don't believe and trust Mahama, but they believe and trust Akufo-Addo and the NPP because we promised and we did. And of course, I think it was just yesterday or so, Imani did its own scoring, even though I disagree with their metrics. But if you look at the scorecard it brought, about 57, I think 56.7 was the scorecard it gave the NPP. Now, if you look 4 years ago, when the NDC were in this same position, they scored less than that. So even on that very extreme scoring card or scoring metrics, the NPP still did much, much better than the NDC. So that is where Ghanaians are going to hold on to and have faith with the NPP, that certainly with the NPP, certainly with Nana Akufo-Addo in the saddle, the ship will come to shore safely.
All right. So, amazing from when she says, I, like most Ghanaians, believe in the Nana Addo administration and the NPP. And so the NPP will win the 2020 elections even beyond what they did in 2016. In fact, let me say that the NPP has never lost general elections since 2008 to date, and it won't be this time. This is amazing from Wenchi. So, Richard, I would also like to come back to you and say this. We've heard some politicians, and let me be specific. The communication officer of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, threatening that when they do have the opportunity to come to power, God forbid that will even happen, that they are going to deal with security personnel mercilessly. What's your comment on that? What's your take on that?
My brother, Samir is a young man, and I think sometimes you need to slow down. Sometimes you can get carried away when you are put...
Richard, pardon me, sorry, but whilst you are at it, we recently also saw a video of the parliamentary candidate of Ayawasowa's Wagon, John Domelo, also admonishing some people to beat people at the polls. Can you just marry the two? Yes.
Yeah, but you see, so these are two young people just like ourselves, and we have the whole world ahead of us and the opportunity to contribute in constructive ways in building our country. That is no way to talk about your country. That is no way to try to show leadership. Yes. That is a lack of leadership. That is lack of seriousness. And so for me, I think that most Ghanaians will see what they say as, if you're being charitable, say that it's unserious, and perhaps they are joking, because you cannot, in a serious situation as we're in, begin to talk in those terms. That is not who we are. But you see, the NDC, as though it was a prophecy, they themselves were confessing to their violence. And this is how, if you remember, from the PNDC days up until when democracy started in this country, 1992 election was all about bullying and beating and using violence. That's how they won election. 96, the same thing. And any time the NDC is engaged in an election, in opposition, or even in government, violence is their stock and trade. And so they speak what they believe in, and sometimes we need to take them seriously. Whilst we know what they are saying is not serious and it's not reasonable, it's not how civilized society is supposed to be governed and how democracy is supposed to operate, we must be clear-eyed and prepare. And for far too long, we have played nice, and probably taken the NDC lightly. But what they are saying now is being escalated to a point where one needs to take them seriously. So while we think that what they're saying doesn't make sense and nobody should be talking like that, the government should not take them for a joke, because they are capable. In fact, if you take former President John Dramani Mahama's statement, That is who they are, and this government must take them seriously, lest they get a small space to create violence, and we do not want that to happen. So yes, Sami is a young man, and I hope that he doesn't speak like that, because really it discredits him before he gets the chance to prove himself.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Richard. So this is Richard Ahiagba, the Executive Director of Dankwa Institute. Richard, we are grateful for your time, and thank you for coming through.
Thank you, again, for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Again, this has been Majority Caucus on JoyNews. My name is Frederick Kofi Amiel. Indeed, it is clear that this year's elections will be based on the credibility of the two political parties, especially the two individuals. President Akufo-Addo, when he promised, he delivered. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, when he promised that he will make sure our young ones go to school without money becoming a problem, indeed, he delivered. When he told us that he will make sure he industrialized this country through the revolution of agriculture, he indeed did so. Join us next week. Let's also go into the issues once more. And again, this has been Majority Caucus. Thank you for staying tuned.